Greetings, YouTube. There are three things I want to talk about in this video. The first two just involve the discussion, the debate, and the preference of Ant-Man versus Guillotine. Now, I have said from the beginning of this debate that I am completely biased when it comes to it. I voted for Guillotine in the arenas. I did not vote online. It was easier to do that because I grinded the arena anyway, but I also was biased toward my own roster, and I have had a 6-star Awakened Guillotine for like a year now. Besides that, when I use Ghost, I mainly just pair her with Wasp, and on rare occasions I'll throw Ant-Man in, but I've never felt the need to use Ant-Man nearly as much as other people have. However, a lot of you have told me that you always use him with Ghost, but also that you don't want to have to justify bringing in Ghost to make Ant-Man good. You also told me that the Giant Man rework is your top preference when it comes to animations. Guillotine has beautiful animations already, and I was shocked. Let's be real. Guillotine compared to Iron Patriot, Joe Fixit, Groot, heck, maybe even King Groot, but certainly regular Groot, Mordo, and I'm saying this for attacking purposes, not defense purposes. They deserve a buff over Guillotine. It's very, very strange that we're talking about Ronin, as in Hawkeye Ronin, but not those champions I just listed. That we're not talking about how to buff some of the worst champions in the game that are some of the best in the comics. And that's the thing about Kabam. I tell people all the time, if you play this game, if they're terrible in the comics or at least forgettable, like if I ask people what are the best villains in the MCU, how many people would name Ghost? Literally. I don't know a single person. And yet she's way better than somebody like Loki, who on paper, I would guess, should be a lot more powerful than Ghost. Just saying, Ghost doesn't have her own Disney Plus series. But regardless, Kabam is trying to make a point that really the poll was a visual glitch, if anything else. Kabam Mike points out that Ant-Man won the forum vote by about 1,700 votes, and Guillotine won the arena ballot poll by about 75,000 votes. The problem with this argument is that what percentage of players actually went to the forum versus the arena ballot that was in the game. My frustration, if I'm a Ant-Man voter, again, I voted for Guillotine, but you got to be objective with these things, is that if that's the case, then why even have the forum vote? Because it's never going to be weighted as much as the arena vote. And it's interesting that Kabam Mike points out that this was the case with Omega Sentinel versus Hercules, because I know a lot more people personally that voted Omega Sentinel over Hercules, and they were ticked off with that result as well. I think that's a different argument and a different situation, obviously, because we're talking about two new champions versus Guillotine and Ant-Man, champions that have been around the contest for years. But if you're going to have a forum vote, you've got to weight it more than something like the arena. And it's an interesting discussion too with the arena because, yes, we have a lot of bots that run arenas, and who knows if bots even have the ability to make choices on champions. But some people theorized, and there's no way that you could prove this, but, you know, again, it's a theory, that the bots contributed to votes for Guillotine. I don't know, it seems kind of a bizarre argument, but it's an argument that some are making. What I think needs to happen is that Kabam needs to, like I said, weight the forum votes to be more representative of the overall percentage, because when we scroll down and see it, you can see Satan's sister Thor Jane Foster got 13%, Ant-Man got 39%, and Guillotine got 21%. I would have added a 0 to the weight of this in terms of votes. Now, if you said 37,660, that still is about half of what Kabam Mike said the Guillotine win was, but at least it's more representative of the people who took the time to go in and vote, because it is something that, like, I don't ever go on the forums. I know as a YouTuber I probably should, but I just don't think about it. And I wait for people to send me the forum posts that are really important online, and I really appreciate so many people, especially Brian Shadow Strike. He's always sending me forum posts. I appreciate. Shout out to Brian. But if this thing is gonna be a future part of these kind of vote processes, it's got to be weighted, because if not, it's just gonna be almost thrown out. It's like an outlier, and I do think there's a more compelling argument, objectively speaking, taking my desires from my own roster out of it, to have Ant-Man over Guillotine. But regardless, this kind of community input only works if you don't tick off the community. And that's the irony of this process, is that I think it's done more harm than good. I also think the arena vote thing was just one of the dumbest ideas I've ever seen. Like, I found it annoying more than anything. And if you really want people to vote, why not just have an in-game poll that's similar to this poll, but it's actually available for anybody that logs in, so you don't have to jump to the forums? Because that's the other thing, is you're jumping away from the game to this external website. It's kind of annoying. If you just had an in-game poll and you kept viewers updated with the results every day or every week, then it's transparent, but it's also not seeming like a contradictory post of a forum going against a in-game arena poll, which felt hidden too. And that was part of the transparency is supposed to be part of the process, and yet it just didn't feel transparent at all. I mean, we have to take Kabam Mike's word, and I don't know why he'd be making it up, that there was a 75,000 vote margin, but in the future, Kabam really needs to rework how we vote. We have so many OG champions. And really, when I talked about the Avengers, OG Captain America, inferior Iron Man, like, you shouldn't land on those champions, especially as 6 stars, and just curse the ground. OG Daredevil, not Hell's Kitchen. Mr. takes 3 years to launch a special one. OG Daredevil deserves a major damage increase, you know? Like, this is not rocket science, but it also seems like Kabam, with the buffs of newer champions, are trying to placate to and appease the people who've spent money on featured Grandmaster and Cavalier crystals, because those OG champions, that was before those crystals were introduced, and so they're trying to take care of the people who spent cash on crystals before people who, especially free-to-play players, who have those OG champions. And I do think we're at a point now where it's getting pretty ridiculous to talk about even a tune-up for somebody like Ronin versus Captain America, or even the other Ronin, right? Ronan instead of Ronin. I sounded very hick when I said that. Anyhow, last point I'll make, once again, to sum all this up, if you're going to have a forum vote, it needs to be weighted. But really, if you want to have a transparent vote, it needs to be in the game. You need to let everybody know of the update. Maybe if they had known that Guillotine was in the lead, there would have been a call to action to start voting for Ant-Man more, right? But if you go only by what's public and transparent, and it's the forum, you're going to think that your champion is safely in the lead, when little did you know that you had thousands of votes that were for another champion, and your actual top champion, in this case Ant-Man, never stood a chance. So how would you tweak this system? YouTube, comment below, let me know. And as always, thank you to everybody who's reached out to me wanting me to make a video on this. I've taken a few days to kind of mull over my thoughts, and hopefully I articulated them well enough in this video.